Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today. My name is Mel Rose, and I'm here to share your daily aspects. Today is Friday, March 4, 2022. And the sun is in Pisces today, as are Pisces co-ruling planets, Jupiter and Neptune. Neptune leads a beautiful boost to Pisces creative energy because it provides inspiration. And when we feel inspired, we see clearly how things have to be done, and we can move with ease in the direction of our creative goals. The real spotlight, however, is coming down on Jupiter tomorrow as it reaches its farthest point from the sun, moving in the sign of Pisces. The expansive quality of Jupiter increases with good fortune and positive growth everything it touches. The sun's conjunction with Jupiter magnifies the quality and quantity of our good fortune and ease of creating, and Jupiter's aphelion, its distance from the sun, delays the effects of the positive vibrations coming our way. So along with the hope and feelings of personal growth and readiness that Jupiter's expansive generosity brings to us, there can be some frustration. It's possible to feel positive, as though things are moving in the right direction and we're doing the right things to help ourselves get there, and to feel as though something is being withheld, sort of just out of reach. Heat is a byproduct of energy being burned or used up. This is why batteries get hot, and if you've ever seen a campfire or set a campfire, you've witnessed fire releasing heat as it consumes wood. As it transforms wood into ash, fire expresses heat. And I'm reminding us of this now because heat is a good metaphor for certain things that come up for us, especially with Mars conjunctions in play all over our days and nights at this time. The waning crescent moon today is in Aries, and Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars is in conjunction with Venus and Pluto today, right now, and all of these planets are currently in Capricorn. Capricorn puts Mars to work in practical ways that matter to our sense of safety and support in the world. So it would be natural on a normal moon and Aries day to feel a sense of initiative, a desire to do something. At this time, however, there may be a strong urge to act, to pursue, or to push something forward. Again, with that sense of purpose that helps us feel that we have agency in supporting ourselves. And the waxing crescent moon at this time really is inviting us to set our intentions. Think about your ambitions, because again, Capricorn energy is very heavy at this time, Saturn energy. So think about what you are ambitious to achieve and how it will help you to support and maintain the lifestyle to which you would like to become accustomed at this time. This is what you want to be thinking about while you're setting intentions and making plans during the waxing crescent moon. The legend is on the side here. All the symbols that are on the page are here in the legend, except for Capricorn. I put it over there. And there are no fresh new aspects on the page today at all, which is really uncommon, but it is a welcome break because it gives us a moment to really dig in on the big stuff that is happening in the ongoing column in our outer life. And we also have a lot coming up tomorrow and next week, so we'll take some time to peer into the future. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay, the page is divided into two columns, one for each of our luminaries. The moon sheds light on our inner lives. This is about our relationship with ourselves, what it feels like to be in our body, our heart, and our mind, and also in our home space. And the transits and aspects that the moon makes they have more to do with those things that we think, feel, know, and intuit, the stuff that's on the inside that doesn't necessarily get expressed. And right now with that moon in Aries, that's the only lunar influence we have today. So it's really just about wanting to take action, wanting to have something to do so that we feel like we, again, have agency in supporting ourselves and moving our lives forward. The sun sheds light on our outer lives, and this has more to do with who we are out in the world in our work, social, and civic spaces. And I address the sun's aspects and the rest of the planetary aspects on this side because they take a varying amount of time, but they often take more time than the lunar aspects, and they have more to do with how we relate to the outer world. Okay, so we have nothing on the moon side of the page except for the moon in Aries. On the sun side of the page, we have two ongoing aspects that I want to talk about. Actually, sort of three, actually sort of four, depending on how you want to look at it. So moon in conjunct with Venus, we will have this one through the 20th of March at least. Some of the estimates are actually through the first week of April. So just, you know, if you're feeling these Mars conjunct Venus vibes or this Venus conjunct Mars vibes, you know, this is very much about an intensification of our sense of what we desire and how we can attract and pull the things that we desire to us, those things we like, love, and can't get enough of. And also our ability to pursue the things that we desire, our ability to act on, and sort of a boldness and courage toward going after those things that aren't just, you know, falling into our laps. So that's what's with us now, what we've been talking about for the last few weeks, and what we will continue to talk about for a few weeks more. However, yesterday, both Mars and Venus made a conjunct with Pluto. So they're already conjunct, which means really right next to each other, right overlapping in the sky, really almost right on top of one another. So they're said to sort of brighten one another's effects. And really, if you could go out there early in the morning, you could see Venus and Mars in the same area. Venus is those are our two closest planets. We can see them with our naked eye. Venus looks like a bright white star that doesn't flicker very much. Mars looks like a small orange star. And so you'll see them right next to each other. Or if you see that bright white star and don't see that orange star, that's because Mars is right there. So they're brightening or intensifying one another's effects in our lives. Pluto is also right there with them, but Pluto is clear out in deep space. It is the farthest away planet from anybody. So Pluto, you won't be able to see it, but you can know that it's there. And Pluto lends a transformative effect in all of the things that it touches. So right now it's touching Mars. This is a transformation in our sense of initiative, our drive to go after things. Maybe we're feeling more drive than usual. That would that would be appropriate, considering Capricorn has this very serious, gives Mars and Aries this very serious sort of drive to work on those things that really help us, again, feel like we have agency in supporting ourselves and growing our own lives. And Pluto's also in conjunct with Venus at this time. So that intensifies, again, our pulling power, our attractiveness, our desire, and, you know, that thing that draws to us those things that we can't, that we like, love, and can't get enough of. So additionally, because we've had Mars and Venus conjunct, right? We've discussed that. We've discussed that a little bit. We've discussed that a little bit. Okay. You see how we've got sort of a whirlwind almost of energies going on. Pluto, it brings transformation, is bringing transformation into our lives in terms of our relationships right now, okay? Because Mars and Venus being the two that are closest to us, they're often described in terms of duality. And they're really, you know, looked to and thought of for thousands of years as the divine couple. So, you know, Mars is the part of us that, and we all have Venus and Mars and Pluto in our charts, okay? So Mars is the part of us that takes initiative, that feels bold, and, you know, Venus is the part of us that desires things, that can attract things to us, that figures out how to attract things to us. And Pluto is that energy that really brings about the deep and total change. It brings us through those high highs and low lows of our experiences. But, you know, Mars and Venus, this is about relationships, and it's about your relationship with yourself. It's about your relationship with your romantic partner. When we're in Capricorn, it is really specifically about the relationships that we maintain for our work life, or just for the, you know, the support of our own structural foundations and validation and our sense of duty to do what we need to do to reinforce those supports. And what is more supportive, you know, in your life than your partnerships, right? You have to have good relationships with the people you work closely with. That's your partner, right? So that you can both benefit, and, you know, your bond grows stronger, but also the support of both parts of that bond grows stronger. So, exciting stuff, guys. We're really going through some transformations in our approach to partnership, in how we pursue what it is we desire, and also how we act to attract that stuff that we can't get enough of. We're really going through a shift and a change here. And Pluto did reach its aphelion recently, so again, we're seeing a little delayed effect in the transformative approach. Pluto does move rather slowly around the sun. It takes it a long time because it's way out there. It's out there like Pluto, man. But definitely, even though we're seeing delayed effects on those transformations, and I say that, and I also see delayed effects, you know, with Jupiter's aphelion here. So the delayed effects of transformation and the delayed effects of, you know, those positive expanded experiences in our lives, you know, it just says, like, get ready, guys. Do the work that you need to do to be in cooperation with the partnerships that you are maintaining. Do the work to be strong and ready when the time comes for that transformation. Because look, there are those of us who feel these energies very strongly and understand that there are transformations upon us, especially when it comes to the way we work, okay? I'm personally going through a time of change as I shift out of one career and hopefully into another one. And I know that there are a lot of people who are consciously going through a similar sort of shift. It takes work, it takes time, it takes planning, it takes a certain amount of ambition and drive. So it's great that that we've got this conjunction, this three-way conjunction happening in Capricorn right now. But then, you know, think about those of us who don't understand that we're going through this transformative energy here. You know, maybe you don't feel it, or maybe you don't realize perhaps that you're, you know, that you are changing, and your relationship with yourself and the people around you is changing. And that might and probably does mean really good things for the future. But, you know, if you go into these things unconsciously, and if you're wondering if you're one of those unconscious ones, I really invite you to give it some insight and some thought. If you go into it unconsciously, you know, you might still have a good outcome, but it also might not be as good as it could have been if you had planned and intentionally done the work. Okay, so that's what I have to say about Pluto in conjunction with Mars, in conjunction with Venus, in conjunction with Pluto right now. And the other thing that I want to talk to you about is Jupiter in this sextile position with Uranus. Now, as I mentioned, Jupiter is making a conjunct tomorrow with the Sun. So that's the spotlight on that expansive good fortune energy, that potential to grow our sense of what we can experience. So while it's reaching its farthest point, this says those effects will be delayed. Definitely the spotlight will be on those effects. It's really already coming in. And, you know, the spotlight is also going to be right here on Jupiter in its sextile relationship with Uranus. So Jupiter is that good fortune that expands our experience. Uranus awakens us to shifts and changes that are possible, okay? The shifts and changes the shift and change that I can make right now, okay? Uranus, sometimes it messes with your timing or just messes with your sense of, you know, well, that doesn't usually happen that way, or that doesn't usually come out that way, right? Or this didn't work the way I thought that it would. So it shakes us up a little bit, and that awakens us to the possibility for a change. Like, oh, it didn't work out the way I thought it would, but it worked out better than I thought it would. So I'm glad I did it that way this time. Or, you know, I'm not happy with the way this worked out, and I didn't do it the same way I always do, or I did do it the same way I always do, but if I change this, I can make it better for myself. That's what Uranus gives us, okay? So we're awakening to possibilities for positive change that expand our sense of what is possible. And I know I'm using the word possible right now. I could use the word potential, okay? What we can potentially have in our lives that we don't already have in our lives. There are shifts and changes that we can make to move toward the transformation. Because look, the transformation, Pluto, the transformation happens to us one way or the other, whether we're working on it or not. And the changes, they come to us as well, all right? The changes sort of move upon us, especially in the outer life. We're not operating individuals or partners in a vacuum here. Our bubbles are bumping up against the bubbles of everybody else out there in the world. So sometimes it's other people's changes that happen in our lives that really expand our sense of what we can do, what shifts we can or need to make, and willingly and consciously making those shifts and changes really push us in the right direction while we are going through these transformations. And that's another reason it's important to try to be aware and conscious of the changes that you are making, the shifts that are upon you, whether you chose them, would choose them, or did not, or would not, because making those changes consciously and willingly and not being resentful about them or not dragging our feet because we feel grumbly about it, that indicates our willingness, okay, to spirit, to the human collective, to the universe, to God, however you wish to frame that. It indicates our willingness to undergo these transformations and to come out of it, you know, somehow better, somehow a better, more true version of ourselves. I don't necessarily think that we, you know, improve and become different people. I think we improve and we become more like ourselves. Like the layers and the masks and the veils are stripped away, and we become, you know, just better, more pure and true versions of ourselves. And you know, by going into that willingly, then we'll see a lot more positive growth and transformation in our lives and in our partnerships, in our workspaces, also in our personal lives. Because of course the outer life affects the inner life, maybe sometimes more than the inner life affects the outer life. But the two, you know, are definitely entwined. A little yin and yang there for you. All right, so that's Jupiter in a sextile relationship with Uranus. And I really feel like, you know, this is going to be with us through the 20th as well. This is just a couple more days. This Pluto conjunct really is just going to last till sometime tomorrow, because tomorrow Mars and Venus move together into Aquarius. Pluto is going to linger in Capricorn for the next year. Pluto has been in Capricorn for 25 years. So Pluto in Capricorn is, you know, transformation of the foundations and the structures and the networks that we rely on for support and validation and our responsibility to them. Transformation of all of that. So if you think about the last 24 years, 25 years, all the changes that we've been making to our structural integrity, to the support systems, you know, out in the world, the way things have changed foundationally for us as humans in culture and society, you know, Pluto has really been at work on those things. And so this is going to be the final year of Pluto in Capricorn, this March through next March. At this time, the United States is also going through its Pluto return. So Pluto is back at the point in the sky that it was 250 years ago when we started this this mess, this country, I mean, that I love. So this is just for tomorrow. This right here is just happening until tomorrow. Pluto is going to be very influential for us for the next year. We're still going to see transformations and shifts in our sense of what is foundational. And I'm still counting that a really positive thing. This will be with us through at least the spring equinox and perhaps through the first week of April as well. And these really have a lot to do with one another as far as Venus and Mars in conjunct, and Jupiter and Uranus in conjunct in sextile position, because they're traveling together. They're doing their things at the same time. So look for those possibilities that expand our sense of what we can do in our partnerships to shore up our foundations and to feel strong and supported. Tomorrow, the sun shines that spotlight on Jupiter. It's coming. The sun is almost in conjunct with Jupiter. And that means, like, if you could see the sun and Jupiter at the same time, you would see them like right overlapping right on top of one another. Of course, Jupiter is a star that you can see with the naked eye, but you're not going to see it while the sun is out. So when the sun goes down, Jupiter will be, below the horizon with it. So you don't get to see them brightening one another's effects, but they really do. This is really just the intensification of that good fortune and that sense of expansion that is coming into everybody's lives. Everything is going to let up a little bit. I know we've been working really hard, and not just, working on the everyday work that we have to do, but also we've been doing a lot of internal labor, emotional and intuitive labor. There is a lot going on in the world, friends, and has been for a while, but even lately it's gotten way more intense, like right at the beginning of this Mars conjunct Venus, we had a war begin. But I'm not going to make the list of all the terrible things that are happening out in the world. You have YouTube, you can figure it out. But all I'm saying is it's been a really intense time. We are all dealing with multiple things to worry about, to feel anxiety about, to feel pain and fear over, okay? So acknowledge the work that you're doing. Yeah, and, there's a light at the end of the tunnel there, okay? Jupiter is at its aphelion tomorrow, so it's really far out there, and we may feel some delayed effects of that good fortune, just as the effects of the transformation are being delayed as well. But we can still feel the effect. We can know that things are expanding for us. We can be aware of it, and we can go forward to it with intention and with plans. Also tomorrow, Venus and Mars are going to break that conjunct with Pluto, and they're going to move their butts into Aquarius. So Aquarius, like Capricorn, is also ruled by Saturn, but it's co-ruled by Saturn and Uranus. So it's really about progressive work. It's about expanded work. It's not just about the work that shores up my personal foundations and allows me to support myself and my loved ones. It's also about the work that I can do in my partnerships, conjunct there, to lift up and to support the people around me, my friend network, my family network, my community, my neighborhood. Aquarius really calls us out into the collective to create alliances and to network and, see what we can all do together to make things better for everybody. And moving into Aquarius together, they're going to conjunct, they're going to do an exact conjunction tomorrow. Okay, so they've been very close to one another. They did an exact conjunction back on, I think, the 16th of February. And they've been close to each other since, but not right on top of one another. Tomorrow they're going to be right on top of one another again. And you could get up probably early in the morning and see them either, sort of kissing or right in the same place at the same time. Venus conjunct Mars at 0 degrees Aquarius. They're going to make this conjunct. So that is significant. That's really a moment of transition out of Capricorn and into Aquarius for our partnerships. So out of the nose to the grindstone work in our partnerships, and more of a pulling out and doing some management of our lives and our ability to help those around us within our partnerships. So I'm really looking forward to that. And again, they're going to be perfectly conjunct as they move into Aquarius. So that's really kind of beautiful and poetic and probably going to feel a little bit intense. I will be interested to see how people notice the effect of that conjunct happening, just as our partnerships, or the sort of planetary symbolic representation of our partnerships with ourselves and other people, move out of that work mode and into a different kind of work mode. Yeah, so that's all happening just tomorrow. This is all ongoing stuff. But once we get here with Mars and Venus moving into Aquarius, like I said, they're going to leave Pluto behind. So the transformation is right here upon us today. If you got plans, if you want to think about the future, if you want to focus on what is ending right now and what is beginning, because that's what Pluto governs, is endings and beginnings, death and rebirth, deep and total change. Okay, so if you want to set intentions around that, if you want to pay homage or honor those parts of your life that are coming to an end, if you want to even honor those parts of your life that have died, and then, you know, also give some honor to those parts of your life that are awakening and coming to life, especially in the terms of your relationship with yourself and your relationship with your partners. Today is the day. Set those intentions. All right. And then next week, what we have is on Wednesday, Mercury will move into Pisces. It's been in Aquarius. So Mercury will be over here with Venus and Mars in Aquarius for a day, right? So we'll have some good conversations as it comes in. We'll probably, I can see a lot of conversations coming up in our partnerships, just about, you know, how we can broaden our view and hopefully, you know, work to support, to be more supportive of those around us. But Mercury will move into Pisces next Wednesday, and then on Thursday we'll have that first quarter moon in Gemini. This is where we switch from being in the crescent phase to the gibbous phase. It's also when we switch from setting intentions and making plans, being ambitious and thinking about our goals and the transformations that we're going to really more taking action on what we'd like to see manifest, especially in the next couple of weeks with the full moon. And then also on Sunday, the Sun is going to make a conjunct with Neptune. So Sun's making conjunct with Jupiter tomorrow. It will make a conjunct with Neptune the next day. Probably I can see a Neptune and Jupiter conjunct coming up in the offing. They're all floating around in Pisces together. The Sun is the fastest moving of those signs, though. So the Sun is going to conjunct Neptune, and that's going to really throw the spotlight, instead of on the expansion, instead on the inspiration, our connection to the human collective and our connection to spirit. The Sun's really going to shine on that at this time coming up next Sunday. And that Sunday will also be daylight savings time, so it'll be the time to spring forward. If you live in a daylight savings time area, you'll spring forward an hour that day. Wow, I think that's all I have to say about the aspects today, guys. Thank you for hanging in here with me. If you are still with me here, nearly half an hour into the aspects, I appreciate it. Please give me a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel. Hit the notifications bell. I post every day. I try to post by 7 p.m. I didn't get it up till 10 p.m. last night. A little functioning with the equipment issue yesterday, but we finally got it there, and I appreciate you all showing up. If anything comes up for you, if you have any questions or thoughts about this, if something really gets your intuition going, I would appreciate it if you leave a comment in the comments section below. I love to hear from you guys, and I will respond. And now I'm going to take a moment to talk some tarot. First of all, I'm going to talk about the tarot card that sits on the side of the page. This is the Nine of Cups, and it relates to the second 10 days of the Sun's transit through Pisces. So cups are water, and it's about our intuitive capacity, our creative capacity, our emotional lives. Okay, so our emotional capacity for real. And Nine of Cups is really a point of satisfaction. It's a point where we feel like we've finally come to a point where we have made a big enough vessel in our lives into which we can pour our emotions without, spilling over. And we can pour our intuitive and our inspired and our creative capacity in without it being too much. So that's a really nice place to be. It brings a sense of satisfaction, and it's a reminder to be grateful for whatever emotional equanimity you are finding in your life. Really notice it and feel the balance that's going on, and feel, the sort of abundance that you have, that you have all this capacity and that you're able to contain it. Feel that and be appreciative of it. And now I'm going to go ahead and throw a card for today. And I'm going to go ahead and mix up these cards a little bit more while I remind myself that the Sun is in Pisces, as are Jupiter and Neptune, which are Pisces co-ruling planets. So those Pisces creative energy vibes are very strong right now. And the moon is in Aries today. It's a waxing crescent, so now is the time to be setting intentions. Aries says not just setting intentions, but creating strategies for achieving our ambitious goals, because Mars and Capricorn, man, seriously. Mars and Venus are in conjunction with one another, have been for a few weeks, and will continue to be for a few weeks. So we're really working on partnerships and our relationships with other people and with ourselves, especially just in terms of the work that we have to do in the world. And Pluto is in conjunction with both of those planets right now too, so transformative energies on board. Look for changes to come up. Jupiter is in a sextile relationship with Uranus right now, so expansion and change, growth and change, making shifts that bring us closer to our expanded ideas of ourselves really comes to mind. And we have a lot of good stuff, exciting stuff coming up as well. But with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and throw this card. I got the Page of Swords. So there's intellect here, okay? We're thinking, we're giving a lot of thought to what is going on in our lives, to what we would like to see going forward for ourselves. We've achieved a certain level here of emotional satisfaction. We feel emotionally settled and perhaps ready for the next expansion in our lives. And the Page of Swords looks forward to that and really thinks, and I'm going to say again, swords, strategy, right? Strategizes, looking ahead to see how we can grow. Now, Page indicates a sort of youthful enthusiasm, perhaps a little bit of naivete. This person has a lot of good ideas, but not a lot of their ideas have been tested yet. And that's okay. Like, this is this is kind of, a choose your own adventure being alive. So have your ideas. Make sure that you're trying to, that you're going. I think this really reflects what I've been saying about make sure that you're going into these changes intentionally. Think about them as you move into them. At least try to give yourself some clue or idea as to what might happen and how you might respond to it. And also give some thought to, what you desire to see for yourself in the future, in terms not only of emotional and creative capacity, but, using your intellectual capacity to find fulfillment on all the levels. Okay, so that's emotional and intuitive.